Oh, wow. So hold on. There was a big insurrection and a coup d'etat. So, Brian, let me just ask you, did Trump leave office or not?
Yeah, dude, because he wasn't successful at trying to do what he was trying to do. He was indicted for blocking the certification of Congress. Like there is this whole revisionist history where people say, because he wasn't successful at trying the coup that he was trying, that somehow he didn't try it. His mentality is that he has carte blanche to stay in power, to usurp power, to hold it to himself whenever he wants. And pointing to 2020 doesn't prove your point; it expressly disproves your point.
In this video, Brian Tyler Cohen goes head-to-head with Michael Knowles on Piers Morgan Uncensored. The debate quickly escalates as Cohen exposes how Knowles and the MAGA panel are distorting the facts about Trump's failed coup attempt and the 22nd Amendment. He calls out their double standards, lays bare the truth about January 6th, and confronts the revisionist spin without holding back. Don't miss Brian Tyler Cohen absolutely dismantling Michael Knowles live on air.
Would you think that if he was to try and run again, that to me would be a step too far? That's way more significant and serious, I would say, than an argument about a ballroom.
Trump's second term thus far has been good enough that I would cheer if, we could have Caesar Augustus, Donaldus Trump. But it's not going to happen because it's prohibited by the 22nd Amendment. Even the idea of his becoming vice president, it wouldn't work. The 22nd Amendment prohibits that. Now, it's worth pointing out, no less a conservative than Ronald Reagan campaigned at the end of his second term and after he left office before Alzheimer's disease to overturn the 22nd Amendment. So there's a longstanding American tradition that that there is a term limit and it's at the ballot box. And the only one who ever abused that was the Democrat Franklin Roosevelt, who became the American monarch. But all of that is kind of beside the point because we have a data point here. These Democrats who are wailing about Trump never leaving office because he wants to make some improvements to the White House at private expense, they seem to have forgotten that we already tested this in 2020 after Democrats had changed all the election rules, in some cases unconstitutionally. Even amid all of that, Donald Trump left office. And then people missed him so much that they invited him back. So maybe in the meantime, once he leaves and J.D. Vance is president, maybe we can finally fulfill Reagan's dream, get rid of the 22nd Amendment, and then we can get Trump to a non-consecutive third term.
Brian, I want to play a clip from Steve Bannon, obviously
can I,
being very
Piers,
close to Trump over the years. Let me play the clip from Bannon, then you can... hang on a second. I'll play the clip from Bannon. It's on the same theme. Then you can respond. Let's take a look.
You need a third term in order to see that job through.
Well, he's going to get a third term. So Trump 28. Trump is going to be president in 28. And people just ought to get accommodated with that.
So what about the 22nd Amendment?
There's many different alternatives. At the appropriate time, we'll lay out what the plan is. But there's a plan, and President Trump will be the president in 28.
Brian, your response.
So first of all, Michael, if the way that you're going to disprove the notion that Trump is going to try and seek a third term is by pointing to how he reacted in the aftermath of his loss in 2020, I don't think that inspires much confidence. I'm not sure if you remember,
did he leave office or not?
Full-blown, it was a whole-ass insurrection.
The whole January 6th thing, I don't know if you missed it.
Oh, wow. So hold on. There was a big insurrection and a coup d'etat. So, Brian, let me just ask you, did Trump leave office or not?
Yeah, dude, because he wasn't successful at trying to do what he was trying to do. He was indicted for blocking the certification of Congress. Like there is this whole revisionist history where people say, because he wasn't successful at trying the coup that he was trying, that somehow he didn't try it. His mentality is that he has carte blanche to stay in power, to usurp power, to hold it to himself whenever he wants. And pointing to 2020 doesn't prove your point; it expressly disproves your point.
It literally proves the point because he left office, which you just admitted. But now you're saying this
willingly.
But this time he's serious.
I think another way to think about this.
Super-duper insurrection, the worst in American history. Okay, I'll wait for that.
So if somebody,
do you want to place a wager? Do you want to place a wager?
If somebody tries,
I think we can have an honest conversation.
Brian Tyler Cohen's exchange with Michael Knowles perfectly showcases the clash between truth and blind devotion. When Knowles starts glorifying Trump's talk about a possible third term, even half-joking about scrapping the 22nd Amendment, it goes far beyond political banter. It's a dangerous attempt to normalize anti-democratic rhetoric. And Brian Tyler Cohen isn't having any of it. Let's get real. The 22nd Amendment isn't just some footnote in history. It's a vital constitutional barrier put in place after FDR's four-term presidency to make sure no leader ever turns the White House into a personal kingdom. Yet Trump's loyalists seem disturbingly eager to test that boundary. Even treating the idea of repealing it as a joke shows just how far this faction of the GOP has drifted from basic democratic principles. And then comes Knowles, trying to justify it by referencing Reagan's offhand remarks about term limits, which is completely absurd. Reagan never suggested erasing elections or holding power for life. The real irony? Knowles claiming that Trump peacefully left office in 2021 as if the months of election lies, over 60 failed lawsuits, and a violent attack on the U.S. Capitol never happened. Pretending that proves Trump's respect for democracy is like saying a thief honors the law because he ran when the police arrived. Brian Tyler Cohen was absolutely right to call out this historical whitewashing. Trying to downplay January 6th as anything less than an attempted coup isn't just misleading, it's dangerous. This soft denialism continues to fuel the extremist edge of American politics. Thankfully, Brian slices through the spin with hard facts, clarity, and accountability. Exactly what this debate needed most.
That's a little more nuanced to that. I mean, I think the truth is, I think we can all say Donald Trump indisputably left office. I think we can all say Donald Trump left office kicking and screaming. He did every legislation. He made. No, I'm trying to advance the conversation so we don't just have a dogfight the whole time. I'm saying, yeah, there was a fight. Yes, there was resistance. Some of it was legal. Some of it was extra legal. Some of it was flat out illegal. Some of it was nonviolent. Some of it was violent. Some of it wasn't directly from Trump. Some of it was from his support. We get that. But the point here is that Trump did not want to leave office and did everything he could to not leave office, and still doesn't really believe, or at least doesn't state publicly, that he lost the election. And so based on that logic, it's not unreasonable to think that Donald Trump would resist again. And if he resisted knowing that he doesn't have a second term in his back pocket like he did the first time, it's entirely plausible that he goes even harder this time. It's entirely plausible. All the conspiracy theories are possible. And when people who have supported him for years, if not decades, say, look, he ain't going nowhere, that also doesn't inspire confidence that there's going to be a smooth transition of power.
You don't believe this. Would you place any money on the notion that Trump is going to stay in office for a third term?
Just allow me to finish the thought, and then I promise I won't interrupt you. And so when you see that rhetoric, these actions, Trump's statements, then combined with him doing major reconstruction on a rental, as my man said, that does make some people anxious. Do I think Trump is going to stay in a third term? No, because I think that the armed forces, I think in particular branches of government aren't going to allow that to happen because they'll be listening to the new commander-in-chief who will be the elected president. I actually think Trump won't stay a third time, but I do think it won't be without a fight. I think that's plausible.
Mark Lamont Hill's face-off with Michael Knowles perfectly highlights the difference between analyzing Trump with reason and defending him with blind loyalty. Hill cuts straight to the truth. Pretending that Trump's attempts to hold on to power were harmless isn't just wrong, it's dangerous. And the facts back him up every step of the way. Let's be honest, Trump didn't simply reluctantly step down like Knowles tries to spin it. He spent months trying to overturn the 2020 election, pressuring state officials to find votes, pushing the Justice Department to interfere, and firing up a mob that violently stormed the U.S. Capitol to block the certification of the results. That's not democracy. That's a test of how far a leader can push a system before it breaks. And here's the chilling part. He learned exactly how far his followers, and even some politicians, are willing to go for him. Mark Lamont Hill is absolutely right when he warns that Trump could go even further next time. We've already seen loyalists placed on election boards, states rewriting voting laws, and Trump himself boasting that he'd be a dictator for one day if re-elected. These aren't mistakes. They're warning signs. The more his supporters treat this kind of rhetoric as normal, the easier it becomes for authoritarian behavior to take root. Knowles keeps insisting that institutions will hold, but that's a dangerously naive belief. January 6th proved that democracy doesn't die in one day. It erodes slowly through denial and complacency. Mark Lamont Hill's message isn't fear-mongering, it's a wake-up call. History is already showing us the cracks forming. Ignoring those red flags isn't strength, it's surrender.
So there have been two interviews at the weekend in the last few days, where she clearly intimated, Jack, that she may have another go at this. I mean, I watched the interview she did in its entirety with Laura Kuenssberg. I thought she just came over as so utterly deluded. Clearly thinks this was a very narrow defeat, that under normal circumstances, if Biden had stood down a bit earlier, she'd have walked it, when in fact the reality is Donald Trump won everything. He won the White House, the Electoral College, the popular vote. He won the whole of Congress. He won every swing state. I mean, it was the biggest shellacking of modern times in terms of the breadth of the victory. Why would she even think of running again?
Oh, no, Piers, I couldn't disagree more. I mean, America's a divided country. This panel's divided in many ways. But if there's one thing America can't get enough of, it's more Kamala Harris. We need more Kamala Harris on TV, more Kamala Harris rallies, more of those incredible concerts, which I attended, many of them, many of the rallies that I went to, just so high energy. We need as much Kamala Harris as America. Actually, she should replace Bad Bunny as the Super Bowl halftime performer. She should just get up there with Megan Thee Stallion, maybe with Bad Bunny, come on out as a guest. I would love her to do every single bit of that.
Well, Brian and Mark have been stony-faced throughout that little statement. So, Brian, let me ask you, this cannot be helpful, surely, to the Democratic Party. I mean, what I'm seeing with the Democratic Party right now, you've got Kamala Harris on this kind of whiny defeat tour, hinting she wants another go at this, which I think would be a disaster. But you also have the progressive, quite hard left of the party beginning to dominate now in Democratic politics. And again, if you're the Republicans, you're probably rubbing your hands with glee that AOC may be the candidate. I mean, what is your view of the way, first of all, what Kamala Harris is doing on maneuvers, but also the way the battle to be the voice and the heart, if you like, and the soul of a Democratic Party is looking like heading towards another election?
I think in general, if Kamala Harris wants to throw her hat in the ring again, like a full primary is not something that's going to hurt anybody. I think having as many voices as we possibly can is just going to be, I mean, the criticism against Democrats as we headed into the 2024 election was that it was not a democratic process. And so inherently, for anybody to say, oh, Kamala Harris can't run, I think is feeding into that same idea. If she wants to run, if she wants to be part of what I promise will be an extraordinarily large primary field, then more power to her. I think more voices is always welcome. It may be the case that she gets only a few percentage points and it becomes very clear that she's not going to be the nominee. So be it. I think that lending ourselves to that democratic process is only going to help more and more. Now, in terms of the broader Democratic Party right now, look, I think to your point, there is a bit of uncertainty as to who the new face of the Democratic Party is going to be, as to who the leadership of the Democratic Party is going to be. We don't have that answer right now, and I know that's not really like a satisfactory answer, but we just don't have that answer, and in large part, that's why the party had felt rudderless for so long. And so, I think that we're going to get that answer relatively soon, but I think that we can see as we head toward the 2026 midterm cycle that really, in large part, these midterm elections are going to be a referendum on the unpopularity of Republicans. We've seen Democrats overperform 12, 14, 16 points from where they were in 2024. So we'll be able to kind of benefit from that as we head toward midterms, but we're going to need some standard bearer as we head toward 28.
When Posobiec tries to portray the Democratic Party as directionless, he's ignoring the facts. Democrats have actually exceeded expectations in both the 2022 and 2023 elections, flipping key state legislatures and outperforming polls by double digits in several major races. Those wins weren't luck. They reflected genuine voter pushback against far-right extremism and Republican overreach on issues like abortion and voting rights. Brian Tyler Cohen's argument is backed by real data. More and more Americans, especially younger voters and suburban moderates, are shifting toward leaders who focus on real issues rather than blind party loyalty. So while Jack Posobiec mocks Democrats for their internal debates, the truth is that disagreement and open discussion are signs of a healthy, evolving political movement, something today's GOP could definitely learn from. Cohen's emphasis on participation, Results and evidence easily overshadows Posobiec's sarcasm and talking points. Their exchange perfectly captures the clash between reason and performance. While Posobiec relies on theatrics and mockery, Cohen stays rooted in facts and logic, and the evidence is on his side. Take the debate about Vice President Kamala Harris, for instance, or as they jokingly mispronounced, Carla Harris. The idea that she shouldn't consider running again is absurd. Political comebacks are part of American history. Just look at Richard Nixon, who lost in 1960 but returned to win in 1968. In a democracy, losing once doesn't disqualify you. It reinforces the right to compete again. Cohen's point that a strong competitive primary actually strengthens democracy is exactly right. More candidates mean more ideas, more debate, and ultimately more legitimacy. That's how a functioning democracy should operate, through engagement, not exclusion.